Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose, hosted by me, Justine Reichman. Every Tuesday, we serve up thoughtful conversations with founders, sustainability leaders, and community organizers who share their stories and missions within the regenerative food sphere. It's all about boosting forward-thinking folks and brands working to make better for you and better for the planet food more accessible. Good morning and welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman, and with me today is Jia. She is the founder of Hotpot Queen, and I'm super excited to have you here on the show and to learn more about you and what you're doing.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Justin.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jia. And I've investigated and I've researched like your website to try to find out as much as possible, because for me, integrating culture into food is it's home, it's family, it's community, it's connectedness. And so when I read that about yours, I was really inspired.
Oh,
I think
thank
oftentimes,
you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, oftentimes I think that when people try to recreate cultural foods from way back when, they don't know how to change them for today to make them healthier, better for you, using good ingredients. And maintain the taste or even elevate it a little bit. But
absolutely, yeah,
it's so important, right? I mean, it brings home to you, it brings your family together. So this is your story, not mine. I was just sharing my passion for what you're doing.
Thank you. Maybe just a quick introduction here. So, hello everyone. I'm Jia. I'm the founder, passionate founder behind Hotpot Queen. So I was born and raised in the I would say very culinary rich region of Sichuan in China called Chongqing. So 5 months after I was born, my mom started a hotpot restaurant that has only 3 tables. So I would say that we have been in the restaurant, the food service business for over 4 decades. So at the Hotpot Queen, what I really trying to is to kind of encapsulate the essence of Sichuan and really to bring the mala flavor to the global audience. So what is mala, right? So mala is a combination of Sichuan peppercorn with Sichuan chilies to create that sensation of numbing and spicy, which is the quintessential flavor profile of all the classic Sichuan cooking. So that's what I'm trying to do. So Hotpot Queen, we sell, well, make it easy that we sell premium Sichuan spicy condiments. But I don't really want it to be just a condiment brand, but I really want it to be kind of the bridge to kind of bridge between the East and West culture. And I really think that food is a great vehicle to kind of evangelize culture and to break stereotypes and to kind of bring people together. And that's what I'm trying to do. So anyway, very delighted to be here. That's just kind of like an easy, simple intro, and we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Thank you for introducing us to Hotpot Queen. I have so many questions. I know that this is, I don't know, 3rd, 4th generation of Hotpot Queen. I don't mean as it's changed. I mean, as your family has been in this business for so long.
Or 2nd generation.
Second generation.
From my mother, yes. Or
okay, your mother, right? Yes, your mother.
Yeah, woman-owned family business being around.
I love that. My mother also, woman-owned family business, and I ran her business. Now I have a different one, but
now we have something common. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you understand.
And out of curiosity, because I can connect, I'm curious. Like for me, when my mother was building her business, I thought everything is possible here, right? I saw that she started it at the dining room table and then she moved on, and your mother had a 3-person restaurant, a 3-table restaurant. So from your perspective, what were you thinking as a kid?
I literally I grew up amongst vibrant flavors, aromatic spices, and boisterous personalities. Like the woman in Sichuan, in my region, Chongqing, is famous for being very entrepreneurial spirit, very strong-minded, also quite loud. Like they're not afraid to speak their mind, right? So growing up, like, so my mother, remember when I was young, she would lock me. I was like 5, 6 years old. She would lock me into like her, like the manager's office in the restaurant, and wanted me to listen to all her meetings. She's saying that, one day you're going to grow up, you're going to take over my family business. You better like, like subconsciously instill all those business concepts into your mind. So when you grow up one day, that you can also carry on like my legacy. So in a way, that's what I'm doing. So you might be asking, why do we call Hotpot Queen, right? People ask me, are you the queen? I'm like, no, I'm not. You see, the founder usually is never the queen. Usually is always a mother. So my mother started a Hotpot restaurant. Do you know what Hotpot is, though?
Yes, of course I know what a
You
hot
do
pot
know.
is.
Okay, so when you go to a Hotpot restaurant, they will serve you with a pot that kind of divides the spicy broth and non-spicy broth, right? You know that pot? So my mother invented that pot in 1982.
Wow.
So she was kind of trying to solve like a customer problem. So she invented the pot, and she was regarded as a Hotpot, queen of Hotpot, by Chinese and international media. So if you go to Vice, and there's an article that Vice written about her called "An Audience with the Queen of Hotpot" from Chongqing. So that's talking about my mother. So that's why I wanted to use the name Hotpot Queen. But this name actually is not my parents' company's name. It's a brand I created for the US market that we just launched our product line this March. But I think it's a way for me as a second generation to carry that legacy, but I also want to rewrite my own story. So that's why, it's not me. I'll call myself the Mala Madam. I don't want to be a queen. I want to be a little bit more humble and modest.
Well, I got to tell you, your mother's so inspiring. Like she's done so many things. And I also look at my mother and think, wow, she was super inspiring, ahead of her time. And these strong women, to have them as mentors and to have them to look up to, I think, puts us in this position where we want to create our own thing, innovate, build, which is what you seem to be doing. And I'm curious, when your mom had this business and she said you were going to take it over, what were your thoughts? Were you like, I'm going to do that when I get older, or did you want to do your own thing?
Well, the thing is, right, when I was young, I did want to do my own thing. So I wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
Because I was the only child, right? And I don't have anyone to play with. You are only child too. Oh my god.
I'm an only child too.
Yeah. So my best friend is my mirror. So I used to like stand in front of the mirror and just try to act out different kind of roles, right? From my imagination. So I wanted to be an actress, but I knew back in my mind that my responsibility is to take over the family business. So I did went to business school. So I studied economics and business at UW, right, University of Washington. But like I always had it back in my mind, like what if the film and TV production is something I wanted to go into? But then at the time, I didn't really particularly want to be an actress anymore because I heard about all those, things behind the thing. I'm like, maybe I want to be a director. So actually after college, I went to UCLA for a year and I studied TV and film production. And I was there. I was, immersed. I did a couple of short films. But then, and I realized it's not really for me either. It was just kind of like a childhood sort of fantasy because I was so lonely, right? And then more and more, I started to kind of learn about like the culture and the business, the people behind my parents' business. And I feel like as the only child, I do have that responsibility. I don't want to let my parents, one day they leave the world with nothing. I just sell the company. There's no name behind it. There's no legacy behind it. So more and more as I grew older, I have more of that burden in my heart that I want to share the culture and share the essence and the people that's behind all those brands and products. So yeah, so I feel like I have definitely changed in terms of my mindset.
I think we all do as we get older, right? I mean,
yeah,
I think that, my father, who has his own business as well, we align in so many ways. And, he was like, well, who's going to take over this? I only have one daughter, and I've always said to him, like, I've always wanted to do something with him because I've always admired what he's done. And he's always built these amazing things. And if I can support him for that legacy, whatever it is, whether it's his business, whether it's a charity that he has, in whatever way, I feel honored.
Absolutely. And then to me, it's like, I did go back to China though, after graduating from college, got a job, got married, went back to China for 13 years. But then, and then I felt to a point, I was thinking, instead of, yes, I can carry on the legacy, I can continue the business, but then I'm kind of wasting my education, my upbringing in the Western world, in the United States, right? But what if I bring to even a broader audience? What if instead of, doing the same thing we were doing in the past 40 years, what if I bring this phenomenal flavor, this mala flavor, and all the wonderful, essence of Sichuan to the US, to the global market, and the other people experience culture through food. So that's why I think a lot of times, like taking over business, carry on legacy doesn't necessarily means that brand or that company. It is how do you continue that story? And that's what I wanted to do.
Oh, and I think that's amazing and beautiful, because I think you're right. People have one narrative around what it means to honor and take over a business, but you're expanding it, you're broadening it, and you're sharing your culture with the rest of the world. And that's more than I'm sure your parents ever dreamed of in terms of, what they were doing. So, I think that's
yeah, I just starting up so we launched our product line this March at Expo West. It was really exciting that we had this very flamboyant, very loud, colorful booth, right? And then people come in like, so how long have you been in business? We say today we're 1 day old. They're like, what? And so we launched today to make sure it was just such a great, and it's been a challenging journey just to navigating the CPG world with no connection, really starting fresh. But I just got so much support from all aspects of or different industries, and people just gave me a lot of love, and they really love our product. So I've been very blessed. It's definitely has its ups and downs, but I'm very happy where I am today and trying to push this idea forward.
Yeah, so I think that it's amazing, and I'm curious because culture plays such a large role in it. What's the feedback that you're getting from people? Are they embracing it?
Oh, yeah. So like I said earlier, right? So what I really want to evangelize is this flavor of mala, right? And the mala, have you ever had a Sichuan peppercorn before?
A what? A citron? No.
Sichuan peppercorn by itself. Oh my God, that is like a most electrifying, immersive journey that you will ever have, right? So because that's kind of the key flavor profile or ingredients in all our product lines is that you have that spicy, a little bit tingling, numbing sensation. So during the Expo West, and also want to do because right now we're kind of rolling into different retail shops. We're at mostly Pacific Northwest, but we're also going to get into the fresh market, which has 162 stores this October. So I start doing in-store demos. So when I do demo, there's always some more adventurous customers that love the product, want to try more. I say, okay, why don't you try a raw Sichuan peppercorn? So once they try it, and they were like, oh my God, what is this? Are you drugging me? I'm like, no, I'm not. This is natural. This is just food, right? Because when you first you taste the Sichuan peppercorn just in its original raw form, right? And it doesn't taste much the first 30 seconds. And then that little tingling, numbing sensation, it feels like a microcurrent that goes through your tongue. And then you're like, whoa, what is this? It felt like you just eat huge, a big bags of pop candy or a super carbonated drink.
Oh, like the candies that go pop in your mouth.
Yeah, that's a feeling. And then your mouth start to salivate. And then your mouth embrace with deep floral or sometimes citrusy, depends on person, flavor. And that sensation is gonna continue coming in waves for about 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, you still have that tingling sensation. So it was so funny. And the people be like, what is this? I have never had this in my life. This is so crazy. And I think that is mala sensation. And the people be like, I wish I knew this more. I knew this better. And there were customers saying that, could you give me a cup of peppercorn so I can go back and share with my family and friends and let them experience what I just experienced? So the feedback was phenomenal, and I had so much fun like, just watching the reactions and see what they think. And I just think that the time is now, right?
Right.
Before maybe people are more like into genderized Chinese food, like
Right.
the Americanized version. But now more and more you see there's a lot of niche in like food culture. They wanted to have like Hapa, like you have Hapa, right? I mean, before 10 years ago, there's no Hapa restaurants. You
Right.
never heard about it. But there's like ramen shops, there's like dumpling shops, there's this and that. So people want to get into the niche, and I think right now the Asian culture is rising, and it's a perfect time to kind of instill that curiosity and give them what they want, right? So it was just so fun.
Yeah, it is. And I remember when the noodle shops, because I'm from New York, I remember they first started opening in New York.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember wanting to try all the new ones, and they had the buckwheat noodles, and then they had the udon noodles, and they had all these different noodle shops, and then something else emerged. But it's about the new experience, is about the new culture, because we're so used to eating our own culture in many places around the world. Not everyone lives in New York City where you can get exposed to all these different things. Right now, I live in Marin. I mean, aside from one or two Chinese restaurants, which, there's two Japanese restaurants, but in terms of other cultures, not a whole lot. So I think it's just amazing for people to be able to come and share their culture, share their food, and let people experience what they have from their home that they're bringing to share.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love, I think there's so many shifts in the culinary world. I mean, umami took the world by storm, right? Everyone talked about the fifth taste, the savory, the umami. And so our product is also very umami rich. And we don't, like the one you mentioned today, say, oh, you want to try the wild mushroom chili sauce? Great taste. That is actually our star product.
Oh.
And in fact, we don't have any preservatives or MSG. But like when people try, especially that product, that's actually the star product that I'm super passionate about. There's a lot of chili oil, chili crisp out there already, but nobody has really put down like mushroom and chili together. Mushroom is also very popular ingredients in all cooking, and it kind of like mimic that meat texture, right? So our product, we have a 3 ingredients that adds that umami layer, but without having that MSG. So one is we use dried mushroom. We have a dried wild porcini mushroom and shiitake mushroom. But because it's in this dry form, we rehydrate it, right? And as the texture changes, become more chewy. And also when you dry the mushroom, it takes the moisture out of the mushroom content. It creates more glutamate, which is responsible for that umami flavor. The second is that we use like double fermented soy sauce. So, and then it's not just salty, as that salty, savory, sweet, bitter, umami, and just another dimension flavor. And the third one we use is fermented black beans, which is also very key ingredients in Sichuan cooking. So the combination of those 3 with the Sichuan peppercorn and chili, that mala sensation, that makes this, I would say, this product or our product like a flavor bomb. It just like explodes in your tongue, in your mouth with all kinds of like flavor notes. And that's what makes it so special, I think.
So what's your favorite way to use the product?
Okay, so I love to eat noodles, being Asian. We eat ramen, I would say at least once or twice a week. So I would call this a ramen bomb. So when you do just regular ramen, I put a big scoop inside and becomes a spicy and the mala savory kind of broth. And because we have lots of mushrooms inside, we call like chunky chili sauce. So there's like a bit of mushroom floating on top and makes the food taste so good.
You're making me very hungry.
I know, I'm actually hungry too, so that's what I'm gonna do.
We should have had soup over. We should have had some ramen while we were chatting.
I know. But then we're gonna make everybody else hungry.
I think so.
Yeah. And also this is really good on rice. So a simple lunch would be just plain white rice, or heated, right? And I'll put a big scoop of the chunky mushroom sauce, and I'll do a fried egg with runny yolk on top.
Oh,
and then
wow,
mix
that
it
sounds very
in.
good.
Yeah, and that would be a great simple lunch. I mean, it's
Okay, well,
healthy.
we're gonna have to get some recipes from you that we can share with our community, so that, you know, when they watch or listen to this podcast and they're like, they want to order it, they know how to use it.
Yes, absolutely. And then right now, because I'm doing the sampling, the sample to purchase rate was so high. Like we gave out, I think last weekend gave out about like 50 samples and I sold 24 jars. So it was
Wow, that's
almost
really
50%.
good.
People try it. And it was so fun to see people that try it. They could walk by and then they come back like, what is this? You just let me taste it. I said, whoa, this is wild mushroom chunky chili sauce. They're like, I'm really loving it, just hearing the name.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious because you came up with this idea. You were doing, you know, your parents had their business. You decided to expand and create something that could broaden the reach, really, right? So are you connected with your parents' business? Is this a separate thing? Are you guys working together on it?
Absolutely, we're connected. So we have our own food factory situated in the heart of the hometown of Sichuan chilies in Sichuan, China, so in the Sichuan region. So I am working with my parents' factory, we're our family factory, as a way to manufacture a product. So basically the way we work is we work with the chili farmers. And we would take their whole entire yield. So we're not just any buyer from them. And we don't just like pick their best batch, but we just take their whole yield. And we'll be working with them for 15 years. And a lot of the chili farmers in that region are minorities. So in China, there are, besides the Han, which is a majority of the ethnic, that takes about 98% population. So 2% consists of 55 minorities. So those minority, it's kind of like Aboriginals. You think about, Native Americans, kind of like that. They live in the land for thousands of years, and they have their own clothes, culture, language, and they're really most of their farmers. So farming is almost like all their livelihood. So for us to kind of work with them and take all their harvest in a way, is really to help with their community. So that's what we'll be doing. Also, we ensure the best quality chilies that we could possibly have. So that's where we source our products, and that's how I tie into my family business with what we're doing now. So that's kind of like that's where the manufacturer is.
So you shouldn't have any supply chain issues.
Well, I shouldn't, but my, logistic issue we always have, right? It's kind of beyond our
I was
control.
only kidding. I was only kidding.
Yeah,
I was only
you
kidding.
shouldn't. Yes. So I mean, it's like in-house. We're not doing OEM, so that in a way, it's much easier. And I think that is a big advantage in our brand, that we're not just starting out trying to look for OEM factory that I've never worked with. I mean, this is our own people, so we know what we put into the food.
Yeah. So for those folks that are listening that may not be familiar with what OEM is, would you just explain what that stands for?
Oh shoot, what it stands for? OEM. I know. Okay. I don't really remember what's out of my mind, but OEM means that you find a factory that they just manufacture this product, but you want to slap your name on it, your brand on it. So they may or may not reformulate, like your products according to your preference. They might already have that product, but what it means that it's not your own factory. It's the factory that can OEM like many different brands. So let's say that you find a chili sauce manufacturer, and then there's 10 other brands behind it. Say they're using the same factory. They will just formulate the product just a little bit, or maybe they don't even reformulate at all. They just put different
labels on it.
Label on it, yeah.
They do the same thing in the makeup industry.
Exactly. Yes. So the problem with that is that if you never worked with this factory before, you just don't know how they do their quality control. I mean, you don't know if it's going to be consistent. But definitely, if you're a company or brand starting up, I mean, not everybody have their own factories and have their family business around for 40 years. So I understand. It's just another layer of, I would say, uncertainty added into this whole brand, right? But I think that because we have our own factory, that is our own people, and it adds that at least reassurance that we shouldn't have any quality issues.
So for those folks though that don't have a family factory and are starting up and are innovating and creating something new, you know, as somebody that's been in this business for a while and knows what to look for, what might you recommend to them to be mindful of if they're using a factory like that that's not their own?
Well, first of all, right, I mean, there is a platform like Alibaba.com that you
Yes.
can kind of vet factories. I mean, they usually have how many years they've been on, you know, the pictures. And I mean, if you can physically be there, I guess the only way you can start is through internet. So
Right.
that's the way. I mean, if you have a people in China that refer to you, that probably is a better way. And you also use the internet to kind of verify. Of course, all the certifications should be there. You know, are they FDA registered? Do they have like HAPA, or do they have all the certification necessary to export to United States? And if you know someone, or you can hire a virtual assistant and to kind of go to the factory and just check it out. A lot of times they might look really legitimate on the internet with all those pictures, right? But when you go there, you can see, oh, do other people, you know, wearing protective gears? Is the factory clean? Or where is it situated? How do they handle food? I mean, you get a much better idea than just looking at the pictures. So
Right.
I think that kind of due diligence is really, really important.
Yeah.
But of course, I understand that, you know, people, they can't always go to
Of
the
course
store.
not. I mean, not everybody's. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why nowadays there's so many tools. Now there's like a virtual assistant. You can hire someone from Upwork or freelance. They have those services in China that you can hire someone to go there and take some pictures. I mean, that's a possibility if you're willing to do that extra mile to do that.
Right. I think that's great advice. And I think, you know, the point really is to level the playing field for people so that while you had access to this and, you know, you're really lucky to have that and
Absolutely.
the experience that you grew up in, of course, listening to your mom's conversations, you know, you have that insight, that additional information. And so being able to have you share that on this podcast with those guests that are listening it's really important because I think it allows them to realize that, it allows everybody to realize, you know, these are all opportunities we can take advantage of. We have to look at different ways to go about doing it. And Absolutely. So I appreciate you sharing that. So for those folks that are listening today or watching and that want to get product, how would they go about doing that?
Well, right now you can go to www.hotpotqueen.com. That's the easiest way that you can order online. Also, we're on Amazon, so you can go to Hotpot Queen, search Hotpot Queen, and you can find it.
Well,
and
we will add you to our store. We'll add you.
Yes, absolutely. And also, we are starting to roll into different retail shops. So we're in QFC, Hagen's, Townsend Country in the Pacific Northwest, and we're the fresh market starting October. So. And we're in a kind of like 50 independent shops across the country. Actually, the ones that are selling the best are those small independent shops. Some are like wine shops, coffee shops, and small independent like gift shops and groceries. They should do very well because they're able to do a little bit of sampling. So our product is like once you sample, it's very easy to purchase. But I guess it's always difficult when you don't know a brand. You just look in the package, you're thinking, oh well, what do I do with this, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you've only been around 7 months. So, you know, with that being said, what can we expect from Hotpot Queen in the coming next 3 years? What are you hoping to bring to us?
Well, definitely I'm focusing on offline retail channels. Like Whole Foods, Costco is kind of like my main goal in the next 3 years. I can get into, and I wanted to. Actually, we're going into Australian market. We already have a distributor that are interested. We're kind of in the negotiation phase. So definitely, I wanted to see more of us. I hope to build more presence online mainly through Amazon. Right now, the cost of acquisition is quite expensive for our own website, and yeah, I really wanted to be the spokesperson for pushing the mala flavor forward. So I really believe that mala could be next to umami, and I want to start a mala revolution. And that is kind of
well, we're behind you all the way. We're standing with you. We're behind you. We'll help spread the word and help get the mala culture out there. The mala surprise.
Yes, I will send you some. I will send you a little bit of Sichuan peppercorn. that what I have. So you can just try it. When I tell you, the sensation described, you will be amazed. It's absolutely
I can't
electrifying journey.
Okay, I can't wait to go on my electrifying journey. Awesome. It was great to meet you, Jia. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope to connect you with lots of other people that are curious about learning about mala and trying your product. So keep us posted on how things progress.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I was so happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for digging in. To learn more about these stories, you can access the show notes at nextgenpurpose.com/podcast. If you like what you just heard, head to Apple Podcasts or wherever you do your listening to hit subscribe and leave us a review. To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram at essential.ingredients and check out our weekly newsletter for your dose of food industry info. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel for videocasts of each episode and give this episode a like while you're there. You can also connect with me directly at justine.reichman on Instagram and The Real Justine Reichman on TikTok. See you next week.